Before we begin, here's a quick message from our sponsors, Voxy, the pay-as-you-go mobile network that gives you unlimited social media for as little as £10 a month. For a limited time only, sign up to Voxy using the link in the description to receive a £40 reward after only 2 monthly payments, and you'll also be directly supporting the channel. So click the link in the description to sign up now. Hello and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast for this mini episode that we're doing in between seasons. This isn't the first episode of season 4. That's coming in a few weeks' time. Well, a few weeks before the season starts, I imagine. But yeah, usual guys today. Jamie and Zach, how are you today, guys?
Good, mate. All good. Good to be back. Been a few weeks on it, but back to the pods now, regular pods. So yeah, all good.
And Jamie, you?
Yeah, sound. I'm officially on a week off now, so I am literally kicking back and relaxing, man. All is well.
Yeah, we should explain. We're all a bit tired today. Me, I'm mentally drained from just watching football. And none of the results going my way. Zach, you've had tonsillitis, so
Yeah,
that's
man.
why he sounds a bit croaky. And
Yeah.
Jamie's just knackered from putting up a wardrobe earlier today.
Put up a wardrobe of chest of drawers, and I've spent the last week being second in command in the rehab, so it's been real mentally fun week for me. I'm just drained, man. But we're good. We're here. We're back.
Yes,
All is
sir.
We are indeed. What do we talk about now?
Well, this is the thing. There isn't a lot to talk about. We've got a
Suppose-
brief running order and overview of what we can talk about today, but it has been quite a quiet few weeks for Blues in terms of transfers, even like the ownership situation. Obviously, it will happen, but that's gone very quiet. I thought it'd be a bit busier, to be honest, with the transfer window opening, and obviously what we heard on the day of the Sheffield United game with Tom Wagner and everything, but it's all been pretty quiet, so there ain't a lot to talk about, I won't lie.
Well, let's talk about the obvious of who we haven't got next season. Let's go straight into the retain list then and just go through.
That's probably the main thing that sort of come up since our last podcast in terms of who's staying and who's going. I think I don't know about you guys, but there's no one I'm too surprised about on there. I think I'd say the main talking points are probably Troy Deeney being one, because he was a bit touch and go as to whether he'd stay. I mean, what are your thoughts on Deeney leaving the club?
I think it's probably the right move, but it's one of those players again who it's okay that we don't think he fits into the team, but again, I just get the kind of Che Adams type vibe feeling with it, where we've had a striker, we're just not going to replace him. When we sold Adams back in 2019, we didn't even replace him with Vassell because we sold him the next few weeks. So it's like we need a proper replacement for them. And I saw that Lyle Taylor's up for free agent this summer, so I think that'd be a good replacement because obviously he's been here before. I've seen a few people say that they wouldn't like him back, but I think that wouldn't be too bad, to be honest, getting him back in.
I think he's a classy centre forward. I like Lyle. I think he's got a lot about him. His movement, he's aggressive. Nothing wrong with him. Composed, great penalty takers. I love the way he takes penalties.
Yeah,
I did read
was
that
quite
Clark
strangely
Harris
confident in him.
Yeah. Peterborough lad.
Yeah, what do you think to him then?
I mean, was top goal scorer in League One when he was 27 or something.
Zach, help us out here.
No, I know. I think he was top scorer in League One. Look, I think Clark Harris would be a superb signing. He's been firing in the goals for Posh for the last 3-4 seasons now. I think the only issue with Clark Harris is everyone under the sun is going to want him. And I'm very surprised I don't know Posh's situation. Obviously, they lost out in the playoffs for a spot in the championship. But I think it's quite odd that it's not just Clark Harris they've said they're willing to sell. A few marquee players, I think, of Posh have been listed on the transfer list, if that's what you want to call it, which I'm quite surprised about. But in terms of Clark Harris, I mean, top scorer in League One, he's been firing in the goals for years. He'd be superb at Blues, and he's the type of striker that just epitomises the way Blues play in terms of big physical striker, whipping the balls into the box for him to get his head on, holding up the play. Bit of a Djukovic, really, but yeah. I just think there's too many clubs that are just gonna want Clark Harris, and I can't see us being top of his list, really. I think mid to top end championship sides would take him. So as good as Clark Harris would be, I can't see it happening personally.
Yeah, I agree with you on the fact that we need that type of striker because we haven't had that player in Djukovic for a long time, really, because the Duke that was so effective when under Gary Monk and occasionally for Clotet isn't the same player anymore. So, like I said, we needed replacements, and I think someone like Clark Harris might be the person to help us out, really. But I don't know. I don't really know who we can attract because we're not a very attractive club at the moment. And when you're saying that we're going to be outbidded by teams higher than us, that finish higher than us this season, it makes sense, doesn't it? If Middlesbrough came in for him or somebody like that, it wouldn't. He's going there, isn't he? He's not coming
It's a
to us. There's
no-brainer.
no chance.
In terms of Lyle Taylor, then you'd like him back, both Tommy and Jamie.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because I do think Lyle Taylor's a good striker. I've got a few fears with Lyle Taylor. He hasn't played football for a year, although he's probably been in the mix with training and everything. That's very different to having match experience. I think second of all, his wages will be quite high. I can imagine him being at Forest, and I think when he was previously at Blues, he demanded quite high wages. I think third as well, what is he, 31, 32? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think we would like some youth and some fresh players in who are, 22, 23 years old. I think we mentioned it before, but Thomas Asante, I thought would have been the perfect signing for us before he went to Baggies. We just want those gems, don't we? Those League 2, League 1 players who are doing very well, 21, 22 years old, and just to give them a go, really. So I think Lyle Taylor would be, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be disappointed if we signed Lyle Taylor by any means, but I would like to see someone different, someone younger, maybe someone a bit hungrier, and someone who probably demands a slightly lower wage.
Yeah, I don't know about the striker situation. Obviously, I don't know other players that probably could fit that. I was looking through some lists earlier. I was thinking they're probably not up to scratch, anything. People say Sam Cosgrove, and I'd love it to work for him in the Championship this season. Is it going to, though? Probably not. And that's going to be a bit of a disappointment because, when we signed him back in 2021 or whenever it was, before this player will come in, gets a few goals and realise he wasn't going to be nowhere near up to the Championship standards. He's been very good in League One with Plymouth, but it's League One, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different ball game, isn't it? And let's be real, we've watched Sam Cosgrove in the past, and whilst he's proven it in the Scottish League and he's had a very good season in League One, I think he's got 11 or 12 goals. It hasn't worked out for Blues, and I don't know about you guys, but not once I've watched Sam Cosgrove and thought, yeah, you're the striker for Birmingham. And that's nothing against him. He might be, he's clearly proven he is a good striker because he's gotten goals everywhere else he's been. For whatever reason, Blues just isn't working out for him. I think if we were to solely rely on Sam Cosgrove coming back and performing the way he has done, that's quite a big risk. So I'm happy to keep Sam Cosgrove and give him another go because he had a very good season last season with Plymouth. But I'd also want us to get in another striker who can maybe play alongside him and accompany him, maybe a smaller, quicker striker. Because I think just solely relying on Cosgrove for the goals is a big risk going into the new season.
The whole thing I was about to say, fucking pace. We just want some bastard pace up front, man. Just want some, don't get me wrong, no disrespect. I like Cosgrove. I think the Scottish Zamora is not a bad player, but I think we need to upgrade a little bit from him as well.
Yeah, pace has been something that's been lacking in Blues' team for years and years and years. Yeah, we got a bit of pace in Chong out wide, but I mean, look how effective a player Onel Hernandez was, and his pace and acceleration and speed, and same with the likes of Chad, even Isaac Vassell. Isaac Vassell was rapid, and I quite like Vassell. I thought he was quite an effective player. So yeah, we just a striker who's got a bit of speed, a bit of spark about them, a bit of energy. 21, 22 years old, won't demand the highest wages. Of course, it's much easier said than done. I'm sure they're quite difficult to find. But if Craig Gardner can work his magic over the summer with Tom Wagner's cash injection, then who knows what could happen.
I believe that Gardner's got a bit of a link with Man United just because Darren Fletcher runs the books there now, doesn't he? So I think that might be a good sort of avenue to go down again. And to be fair, it actually hasn't been that bad of a choice, really. I mean, we got Chong. He's been decent for us occasionally. And Hannibal as well. So it's decent signings there. So exactly, yeah. Some very good signings, yeah. I mean, I like Mengi. It's just such a shame that he's just not been able to keep fit, really, because you think he was like... I think had he had stayed fit, I think he'd have been Championship quality, I think. Yeah. But no, it's just not happened for him, has it?
Definitely. He's very, very good player, he was.
He was
No.
only 19, I think, when he was at Blues, and a very quick pass. I think he played a lot of the time as well. He played in the centre of that back five, and that's normally your main experienced centre half. But he slotted into that role perfectly. So I'd love Teden Mengi back. But as you say, Tommy, it's just a question of staying fit and whether getting him on loan and paying his wages will be worth it for the amount of games he plays. But I mean, looking at the other sort of players that have left Blues as well, I mean, the majority of the loans have obviously gone. Harley Dean as well is obviously not on that list. Maxime Collin isn't on that list. I mean, it did say at the bottom that some of these players, still under the negotiations, they didn't make it clear as to what players. But I mean, Dean, Collin, what are your thoughts on those two? Even Kevin Long as well. Kevin Long, wasn't on the list. So
I know that one feels a bit like a
Yeah.
bit of a letdown. That one, I feel like, because you made a good point about that, Jamie, saying that we got him on a free pretty much anyway. So just renew his contract. He just clearly either Blues couldn't come to a good agreement with him, or he's just not interested in staying. But yeah, I'm surprised by that one. I'm not sure what happened there. And obviously with Maxime Collin, I think it was just time up really for him. I think he don't want to stay around for another 4 or 5 years, does he? So he's just going to get out of here while he can.
Feel for Maxime, really. He'll feel like, and I know I might get shot for this, but he'll probably feel like he's wasted 5 years.
No, absolutely, yeah. But
he's so good.
With his potential he came with when he came from Brentford, you thought this is going to be a good sort of push towards the top of the Championship now. A bit of a rebound. We had a bad season under Zola towards the end of it, and then we're going to rebound with Harry Redknapp. Just didn't happen that way. I feel like, well, as well that we played Colin at left back for the majority of that season when he first arrived, didn't we? Which was odd, considering he's been like the most solid right back in the division ever since.
Yeah, I think Colin's had his haters certainly in the second half of the season. I think at Blues, and I think looking at the bigger picture, I think Colin's been a fantastic servant. He's been in this Blues team consistently for the last 4 or 5 seasons. I'd say 85-90% of the time he's performed very well. I think it is his time to go. I think it's time to now move on, get someone new in that role. I feel Pedersen left a little too late. I think Colin's leaving at pretty much the right time. But I think it's time for a fresh new right back, probably a fresh new defensive back line, to be honest, because Roberts has been at the club for a while as well. I know he's looking to stay. But Dean's been there a while, and as much as I've certainly been a big supporter of Harley Dean pretty much throughout his entirety of his time at Blues. I think again demands quite high wages. So I think it is time for him to move on as well. Look, this Blues team is going to be looking completely different come the new season, particularly that back line. I think Ruddy will be the goalkeeper, and I think the entire back four will be completely different to what we've seen this season. But I think the players that are going, at least the contracted players, ignoring the loans, it is about time for all of them to move on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what the hell's going on downstairs, so apologies if you can hear anything in the background.
I can't. You can't.
Good,
No, I
right.
can't.
It just sounds like hell down there. I don't know what's going on with my dogs. But yeah, I counted the retained list players we are keeping for next season or are under negotiations or whatever. I counted 14 first-team players from the ones in that list, really. So I don't know about that, really. I feel like if we are to get a completely new backline, how much is that going to cost, really? And what's the standard that backline going to look like as well?
It will balance itself out. I mean, without knowing the exact wages of players, you're losing Maxine, you're losing Harley. I'm surprised Neil Lethbridge didn't get released, if I'm honest. I'm very surprised that Neil Lethbridge is still at the club. No disrespect for him, I think he's fantastic number 2, but I think he could do a number 1's job at another Championship club easily. But I think you've opened up a lot of wages there. This Wagner thing's got to go through at some point. The EFL are taking the piss here a bit of proving this. And don't get me wrong, it is just strong rumours at the minute, but I'm hearing very strong rumours of a Sanderson potential trustee, Hannibal potential. They've said he can go. Very strong rumours of us bringing. And let's be honest, lads, if it happens, and I'm only saying if because I'm just hoping, Sanderson trustee as your back 2 is a very fucking good start to rebuilding your back line.
Yeah, for the start of the season, it's good, isn't it? Because
your back's your issue.
Yeah, well, whether we alter the formation a little bit and decide to do more of an attacking wing back, which in reality we've done for the past few seasons, haven't we? With Jordan Graham. which
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jordan Graham's gone as well.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Never quite worked out for Graham. And I actually sympathise with Graham a
No,
little
so
bit.
do I. I just feel like he
Because
was
I
not
think,
utilised.
no,
in the right way.
he was a striker at Gillingham. He played up front / right wing. He's been used
He
at wing back the
no.
entirety.
But again, no, he was not a championship striker as well. He was not up to scratch. That's the thing. He could play in any position. He wasn't up to championship scratch. It's just as simple as that, really.
Yeah.
I did like his leaving tweet though when he said like big things are coming at Birmingham City.
Yeah,
Well,
I
hope
like him as a bloke, and he
Yeah.
just it didn't quite work out for him at Blues,
No.
but I'm sure it'll work out for him elsewhere. I mean, in terms of what you said there, Jamie, with Sanderson, Hannibal, Trusty, I think Sanderson's looking the most realistic, isn't it? I think Wolves have openly said they're happy for him to go. I think us, Sunderland, and Stoke are interested.
Seriously
Maybe
now,
QPR as well.
Sunderland,
Yeah.
can you like just fuck off, please? Like go away.
I know,
Stop.
it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Go away. Like
I know they want everyone, but I mean, I think Sanderson is the most likely out of the lows. I know there was an article about a month ago saying Man United are happy to let Hannibal go. Whether that happens, I don't know. That's all gone a bit quiet. And I won't lie, personally, I haven't seen anything regarding Trusty. I think if one of them were to happen,
doesn't it?
yeah, like we said at the start, there really hasn't been much happening within the last few weeks since the Sheffield United game at Blues. But you say Sanderson and Trusty as a back two. Honestly, that back two can take us right to the top. Sanderson and Trusty as a centre back pairing, I think is quality. It's quite top end championship centre back pairing. That
credit
is.
where it's due. Roberts did a fantastic job last 10 games of the season, to be fair. And which is what infuriates me is why we didn't fucking sign Long. Because you know what, Long did a great job as well. I'd imagine having like as you 4 centre backs in that squad, you've got Sanderson, Trusty, and you've got Mark Roberts and Kevin Long who can slot in. You're right there.
Yeah.
That's a solid defensive. And I think also the signings, you were right. I think it has gone quiet. I think what's going to happen is the day the EFL approve Wagner, I think the next 2 to 3 days after that, it will just be signing. You'll see rumours then appear, and you'll just see it come through.
That's just where my pessimism kicks in, though, because I'm imagining nothing's going to happen. It's going to be like literally like the last day before the championship season starts. There's still nothing being said at all about Wagner or anything. It's just
no.
I was realizing that when I was watching the football earlier. I was just like Villa, who've been like shite as usual this season, and they go on this incredible run towards the end of the season, like they always fucking do, and they finish 7th. They're in the Conference League, which is Mickey Mouse Trophy as it is. It's still annoying because it's like they're doing better than we are. It's just
not talk about it. Just forget it. Ignore them. Let's focus on the Blues because I can't be asked to get into, it. But yeah, the Wagner thing will happen. It
better happen. It really better happen.
Don't get me wrong. I don't know the ins and outs, but it will happen. Like too much as that Sheffield United day where it was all announced he was going around the bars and everything, and he was at the game. It will happen. It's just
that's exactly what happened with Paul Richardson, though.
I swear to God, if this doesn't fucking happen, I'm supporting Worcester City for my life. I'm done. I am done.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hide for a bit if we don't get the owners.
I'm
just gonna disappear. You might not see the vlog for next season if that happens. Just gonna hide for a bit.
It's just a vlog, but it's just Tommy crying into a camera for 20 minutes every week. Fucking shit.
For people who used to really like this vlog and thinking, "What the fuck do I watch it anymore?" It's shite now. It's gone right down the pan.
It'll happen, fellas. I don't know when, but it will happen. And when it does happen, that's hopefully when we can start to get a few players through the door. Because as we said, it's been really quiet. But hopefully when Wagner comes in and that little bit of cash comes in is when we can start really building the team for next season.
I tell you what, though, just before you make this point, Jamie, like whenever we seem to record these podcasts, there's always like massive news immediately coming.
Fucking tomorrow morning, I'm gonna wake up and my phone's gonna be going ballistic, going EFL have approved Wagner, and I'll literally be like,
it will happen. So that's why we're doing this.
I know this is why we need to live stream some podcasts. It's just like it's out there then, and we don't need to worry about us faffing about with editing.
Who's recording it, lads? Who's recording it? Shit. It'd be one of them, wouldn't it? Elephant in the room. Christian Bielik.
Mm-hmm.
Derby have got to sell him. He is on way too much money in that league. They are in the bin, financially in the bin. They have got to sell.
I might be wrong. Derby under embargo or not? Because I think Derby may be under a trap. I might be wrong. I think if Derby are under an embargo, I imagine Bielik will stay.
But they can't afford to keep Bielik because he's well over the wage bracket, I believe, in that league.
No, I don't. No, they're not under a transfer embargo.
I've heard very,
they're
very
not.
interesting sources saying if Jobe goes to Sunderland for 3 mil, that money goes just funds into Christian Bielik.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I think it's a tricky one. I can't see why Bielik would want to go back to Derby because at the end of the day, he's playing in a League One football compared to Championship football. I think in order for him to be in the Polish team, I think the big reason for him coming to Blues was to help him get into the Polish team for the World Cup, and he'll want to retain his place in the Polish team. So it might not be Blues, but I can't see him wanting to play League One football next season. He's clearly proven this season he's more than capable of playing at Championship level. He's a very, very good midfielder.
When he's fit and at 100%, he's arguably one of the best CDMs in that league.
Yeah.
Oh, easily.
He, particularly prior to the World Cup, he proved what a fantastic defensive midfielder he is. So it's everything is so up in the air with all of these players. They've all said their messages, but whether any come back and stay or go, who knows? I think, as I said, if one's to happen, it'll be Sanderson because Wolves have openly said they're willing to sell. He's been at the Blues for 2 seasons now. I can't see why he'd want to go anywhere else. In terms of in terms of everyone else, I've got to be honest. Personally, I can't see any of them happening. To be honest, but look, if they do, it's just a massive bonus, isn't it? Because I think we're all in pretty much the same boat in that we probably don't expect many of them to come back.
I know it's never ever going to happen in a million years, and I'm putting myself on the far line here, but just imagine the limbs of Che Adams rejoining now Southampton have gone down.
No, there's no chance. No chance.
No, I know it's not going to happen, but imagine the absolute scenes, lads.
That would be unreal.
One player who could potentially rejoin us, who was an old Southampton player, Nathan Redmond. Yeah, he could potentially be back on the way because he's
is he in the Turkish league at the moment?
Didn't work for him out there. I think he's flopped a little bit.
I think he's doing quite well, isn't he?
Someone said he's flopped and he's out of contract. I think Tommy's right. I think he is.
I thought he was doing quite well. I think you might be right in that he's out of contract, but I thought he was doing. Is he at Is it Besiktas?
Yeah, he's at he was at Besiktas. 5 goals, 5 assists. It's a decent return, I suppose. But if he is out of contract, then I would love to have him back. It's a proper decent re-signing.
Yeah, only 29. I didn't realise. I thought he was a bit older than that, but only 29. I'd love Nathan Redmond back at the club. Yeah, I mean, looking at the rest, there's a few good options as well in terms of players who are out of contract from other clubs. I think Luka Jobe being one.
Decent.
Poach Reading. Yeah. Poach Reading. Get Andy Carroll in, lad. Just fuck it all.
That's a good point. It is a good point. I did think I think it was Bolton who went down one season. And they had a few decent players who were all out of contract. I thought, why don't we have a go at some of those players? Just none of them. We didn't even make any money signings that season.
Look, there are some decent little cheeky players that will come down. Like,
I think we just don't need to splash the cash on one player like we did with Sudnich or Jota or one of those type of players.
Oh, he's back as well, for fuck's sake. I forgot about that.
We don't need to splash the cash on players. You know what I mean? We just need to evenly spread it out. Buy a few players who, obviously, like Lucas João, could potentially come if he was, willing to come for the right price.
I hope Sunjic
right wage. Sorry.
I hope Sunjic turns all right. You know what I mean? Our Croatian Endor is going to become good at some point.
I'm just having a look to see if I can find the list of players who are out of contract. But as I'm scrolling, I've just seen that Tom Ince's release clause is only £50,000, and he's attracting a lot of interest from a lot of different clubs. Is Tom Ince someone you'd like? I know he's a bit of an ego.
No, he's not even any good though.
Just sign him so he doesn't fucking score past us anymore. Just literally paid the 50 grand so the wanker doesn't put another goal past us. I'm sick of it every time he plays. Fuck off. Just sign him so he doesn't score. Just get him away.
Yeah.
Prick.
I I swear transfer market has like a free agents page. I swear it
You
does.
might be right. I'm struggling to find the post now.
Yeah,
I think
there are.
right back's the one that scares me, lads, because we've had such a consistent soul there for 5 years now. It's going to be hard finding anyone. It's not just about bringing a right back in. It's big fucking shoes to fill. Is Maxine Collin?
I know.
Big shoes.
It's worrying. It really is. I do wonder whether our team is going to start to really show how poor it can be at times next season. Just like we might just go on like a terrible run of form.
I think
We've
next
had bad
season's a
runs
very
of
make
form
or
next
break.
season.
Make or
Yeah.
break next season. I think there will be progress next season. I think if everything goes to plan and this Wagner stuff comes through, and we let's say this time next month it's approved. So you've got the end of June, July, friendly start, August. You've got a month then to start scouting and bringing. I think you need 2 to 3 weeks in modern day market to bring in a good 6 players with investment.
So I
And
found the list of free agents. So looking defensively, I'm just picking out the sort of main names here. It's got Scott
Yeah.
Dan.
Would like to bring him back. It would be nice.
Yeah. Ayala from Middlesbrough. Obviously,
Should have had him. We should have bought him under
Yeah.
Karanka. We should have bought him under Karanka.
But problem is, he gives me George Friend vibes. I think it would be 5 years too late to get him now.
Yeah, exactly.
No, maybe so. Aidan Flint.
I like Aidan Flint a lot.
I like Aidan Flint. We were rumoured with Aidan Flint 2 or 3 seasons ago, I think. Is he all at the moment? I might be wrong.
He is an absolute shithouse footballer.
Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday.
Absolute unit of a man.
He was great with Bristol City and
yeah.
Cardiff. Did he go to in the end? He was decent there. If I
he's a centre half that scores goals as well. I think one season with Bristol City, he got like 10, 11 goals or something like that.
And if John likes to, well, there was one point under Cardiff. I believe he was Cardiff's top goal scorer for a while in one of the seasons. It was one of my best mates at Cardiff, and he said to me all the time, he was like, Aidan Flint, man, is the one. You're telling me if you have a back three next season, you've got Trusty and Sanderson one. Imagine if this happened that side, then Aidan in the centre.
We're looking tall then as well, because that's something that I've been worried about recently. It's like
height.
Our height in the team, it seems to be going down, doesn't it? You look at Millwall. It was
modern
good
day
that we built Millwall
as well.
Yeah, I understand that, but like defensively, you want big units of a player to put those tiny little dribblers off. Really, you know what I mean? It's like
we've got Jay De Silva as well from Bristol City. Quite a good
yeah, I never really noticed him though.
25. Yeah, no, that is true. In terms of midfielders, let's have a look. Jake Livermore.
I don't mind Jake Livermore.
Yeah,
I think he's a classy player.
How old is Livermore now, though? Because he's been around for
30s,
quite some time. Yeah. Nick Powell.
He's that old Man United player, isn't he?
Yeah. Sam Clucas. There's some good names here. Bradley Dack.
Clucas would be nice for a left footer as well.
Bradley Dack's, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dack, Dack's a good player. I like Brad. I mean, if they want to sell us Bertrand Diaz, that'd be fucking nice, wouldn't it?
I mean, in terms of forwards, then Timu Pukki.
Is he out of contract?
Get Timu Pukki. Bring him in now.
Bring
me in
He's
a
not
clinical
coming.
finisher that his team.
He's not coming.
Give me Timu Pukki.
Oh, that would be unreal.
In London, dancing the underwear for Timu Pukki. Give me some Timu Pukki.
We could sign all of these players and just still finish 17th. That's the
we can get 16th, lad. 16th, come on.
Marginal gains, lad. We're doing well.
Alfredo Morelos from Rangers.
See, I read this, and I read Ryan Kent's also out of contract. But Ryan Kent, there's about as much chance as me being the King of England tomorrow morning.
I think that's the same with Morelos as well, to be honest. I don't know why I'd go from Rangers to Blues. But yeah, you are Ryan Kent's on this list. Shane Long, probably a bit past
too old.
Too old.
Gary Medine. Gary Medine.
How old's he? About 47,000.
Years.
I think there's cave drawings of him on the walls in
YouTube.
And that's about it, probably in terms of
Gary Taylor Fletcher.
So looking at that list, there are some good free agents available this summer.
And we're Birmingham City and we live on them.
Exactly. We love a free transfer. We love a loan. So
Yeah.
look, I think things are quite exciting. We're going to see a very different team at the start of next season. We've got Todd Wagner hopefully coming in, a little bit of a cash injection. There are some good players available. Dion Sanderson, is I think could potentially happen. Who knows about the others? But put it this way, I think times are exciting for Blues.
Yeah, I'd love to believe that, but me being a pessimistic Blues fan, I can't see anything else.
No, we say at the start of every season, don't we? Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait for the season. This is going to be the year, but
I
who
thought
knows?
I tried like a reverse psychology sort of tactic last year. I said we're going to finish stone dead bottom in the hope that we were going to do really well, and thought midway through the season, hey, actually might work this season, and just back to the same old normal.
Yeah, we always start quite well at Blues, don't we? We always start the season on pretty decently, and
It's
then
that
things
October,
start to
November
capitulate.
time we do really well in. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is. That bit in the season we do really well in.
yeah, and then it's the last 15 or so games that just go wrong, innit?
The last 15 games of the season.
Also,
15 games.
the second elephant in the room and the bigger one, Jude's pretty much going to Real Madrid, which gives us a bit more of a cash injection.
It helps with the financial fair play. I don't know whether it gives us any more money.
Yeah, I've heard so many different things from 5%
Yeah, I
to
will agree with you.
25%. Who knows? He might. You know what? Obviously, Dortmund's bottled the league. I know Jude didn't play, but Dortmund bottled the league, which is gutting. So whether he'll want to stay at Dortmund
you know
another
what?
season,
They did that to themselves. They fucking benched Jude. They benched.
No, he was
I
injured,
think
though,
he's
wasn't he?
injured. Yeah,
They
they didn't
coming back from an injury.
Yeah, he was. I think he was on the bench, but because he's been wearing that knee strap for a few months now, hasn't he? So he's got a problem with his knee, hence why he didn't start. But yeah, in terms of the Jude money, who knows? I mean, whether he goes this summer, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he stuck out another season at Dortmund. And in terms of his brother Jobe, I mean, we briefly mentioned Jobe, but I think we should probably touch on him a little bit more because it is quite big news in that. We've even had Fabrizio Romano report that he's going to Sunderland. And bear in mind, it's been like a week and a half since that was first spoken about, and not really much has happened since. Whether it does or doesn't happen, I don't know. I mean, what are both of your thoughts? Do you think it's reported 3 million? Do you think that's too high, too low? Do you want to keep him? Do you want to see him gone? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think obviously he's not been the same player that Jude has been, and I don't think he ever was going to be, was he? But 3 million always feels a bit shit for a player who could be the next best player in the world or whatever. I'm not saying that he's going to be. I'm also not ruling out he could be as well. But I don't know. It's one of those things. I think people just got caught up in the hype of his name, perhaps a little bit too much. But yeah, I think it makes sense for him to go to Sunderland with the links with Mike Dodds and everything. And I think had they have stayed, Christian Speakman and Mike Dodds at the Blues, there wouldn't even be anything like that. I don't think Joe would be even wanting to look elsewhere. And the only reason he is looking elsewhere at the moment is because of those two, really. And obviously they're more involved with the first team now as well. So it just makes sense, really, for me. But 3 million on our end just feels like, for all the investment we put in for Jobe as a club over the years, 3 million out of it. That's why I was pissed off with 25 million with Jude. It's like, this guy's going to be worth hundreds of millions in the future. We're going to get like not even a quarter of the price he's eventually going to be worth. It's ridiculous, really. But what can you do when the club is run so shitly?
Yeah, I slightly disagree with the Jude thing, only because I still think, as much as Blues fans could see that he was probably going to be the player he is today, I think Dortmund was still taking a big risk, paying 25 million for a 16, not a 17, 18, a 16-year-old. So I do think that we probably got a fair amount for Jude at the time, even though a lot of us knew he'd go on to be what he is today. I always think it would have been difficult for the club to negotiate much more for a lad who's 16. In terms of the Jobe thing, I agree with you, Tommy. I think 3 million is too low. I think a lot of people not a lot of people, I'd say it's probably an even divide. Some want him to stay, some want him to go. I think, personally speaking, looking at particularly the Millwall game, I think highlighted what a fantastic player Jobe Bellingham can be and will be in the future. People forget he's 17. Like, he's not 19, 20, 20. He is 17. like 3 million for a 17-year-old is good money. But if he's starting for Blues, which he had done towards the end of the season, and I think he made, I don't know how many Blues appearances he made throughout the season, but to do what he's done at 17 so far, regardless of the name, and play well when he's been called upon, particularly, as I mentioned, Millwall in the final few games of the season, I think 3 million is far too low. And I think the likes of Jobe Bellingham and George Hall are the future of Birmingham. And I, personally speaking, I don't want Jobe to go. I think 3 mil's too low. I think he's proven he's going to be a very good player. And the fact he's only 17, give him 4 years of consistent football at Blues, he'll then be 21, still incredibly young. It just feels too little money and too soon to be releasing Jobe Bellingham. Personally, I think it's a really poor decision. And whether the club, financially have to do it, then fair enough. But I think if we've got the luxury of, this 3 million isn't urgent, we can wait. I think we should do everything in our power to keep Jobe. I really do.
Well, I think in terms of price is really the thing I'm always thinking of in terms of the Blues, because the money we need the most. I always think like Jude really should have gone for more, because if Chukwuemeka, whatever his name was, that went from Villa to Chelsea was worth that much, then how the hell is Jude like less than that really? Well, did he go for like 34 million or something? It was rumoured to at least anyway.
Good question. I don't know.
It was ridiculous. I remember thinking that at the time, thinking Jude Bellingham has done 10 times more than this guy, and yet he's worth more. And that's obviously because Villa are in the Premier League and everything. But it's kind of the thing that I'm frustrated with the Blues at the moment, is the fact that we aren't getting any progress. And then for these players, we're getting nothing out of them. It's like, we need to do better. That's why, because if we have to sell these players in the future, we can demand more if we're going for the playoffs or something, or we're closer towards the top of the championship. Where we are at the moment, it's no wonder that he went for 25 million, Jude, because if we're in like West Brom's position, who demanded so much for Saido Berahino, who was nowhere near the player that Jude is, then they can demand that because they are in a better place than we are. And that's why I'm like, this season, like, we need to do better, because not just for like the team on the pitch, because it's all relevant anyway, but like, we need to do better just financially, just to stay afloat, really. Just like win some games, like just snatch a 1-0 here and there and try and get up the top of that table, because some of those players, you just find that they're worth a bit more at the end of the season if we have to sell them.
Jobe would be worth more if we finished 4th this season, wouldn't he? So what are your thoughts on it, Jamie?
I think the thing that pisses me off more than anything is it's a fucking championship club. If he goes, Jude going to Dortmund, going to the German top division, I was like, fair play. Dortmund are incredible at, bringing youth players through. That's cool. But when you go into another club who didn't even get promoted, that's the kick in the teeth for me. I get the Mike Dodds thing, and I get the link, and it's good, and it's great for his development, and all power to him, but I think we've been lowballed. I think 5 mil would have been a bit more accepted of. In my eyes, it just feels like if you take inflation of the transfer market into account, it's basically a 1.75 Damari Gray fucking sale to Leicester again.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
Do you know
for
what I
me.
mean?
I don't want. I personally, I don't want Jobe to go for any amount, because I think what he's doing at 17 years old, and particularly his performances in the final few games of the season, I just don't think warrants a transfer. So if he does go for 3 million, that probably suggests that the money is urgent and Blues need money now and can't afford to wait. But hopefully we're able to keep him at least for another season and really bump up that price tag if he is to go, or if not, bonus, we get to keep him and hopefully produce a fantastic player out of him. So I personally speaking, I don't want Jobe to go for any amount. I want him to stay at the club. I think him and Hall particularly are the future. We've obviously got James and Chang doing equally as well, but I think Hall and Jobe particularly for me are the two that just epitomises the future of Blues.
Yeah, well, let's one more, Jamie.
I just think financially it will show how fucked we are as a club if the season ticket prices go up.
Yeah,
they will do. They'll go up. 100%. They'll go up.
What?
I think they will.
Well,
I better not.
Yeah,
well, they will. They definitely will.
Can't be asked.
They'll go up. They'll go up, mate.
I'm not paying more money to finish 17th, lad. Nah.
Well, yeah, exactly. We need more for that money. We need a playoff.
How much is a season ticket now? How many
I don't know. I can't remember.
It's got to be about 400 or 500 quid, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's that much. No.
My season ticket this season was £240,
Yeah.
but I'm under 21, which helps. So
Helps when you're young, Jamie.
see when you're
Being on
when you're paying
bastard like you are.
when you're paying pensioners' prices, it does go up. So.
How was your day at Wembley, Zach? Hey, prick.
Oh right, let's wrap this up before we offend each other.
One last thing
deeply.
before we go, and we will bring this up more in
Love you, Zach.
future podcasts
Love you
and
too,
future conversations. You two want to get a fucking room or something, honestly.
Right, God, sorry.
What do we want the kit to look like next season?
Blue and
Oh,
white,
very good
preferably.
question.
What I
So-
loved about Ian Dutton's letter actually says that we can confirm that next season our kit will be royal blue. I'm like, oh, well, the
Great.
Christmas has come early. Brilliant.
Wow.
That's like saying to Man U, your kit will be red.
Well, we can't if you never know,
Obviously.
actually.
Yeah.
Other news, water's wet, Ian. Nice one, lad. Right.
Oh God. Any particular style we're looking for, or any brand actually? Because interestingly enough, Bristol City had to change their kit midway through the season, didn't they? Because of Hummel going out of business, wasn't it, or whoever they were with? So, what are we hoping for next season? Because I swear, if it has white sleeves, I'm going to kill somebody.
What's wrong with white sleeves? I think white sleeves is good.
No. Right, I'll get that shirt off the wall in a minute, and I'll fucking slam it in front of your face. I'll have.
Yeah. The Karanka season was the worst Blues kit there's been in the last
It's
probably
dreadful,
in
isn't it?
history. Wrong
I
shade of
liked
blue.
that kit.
Oh, Jamie, man, you need to stop, honestly. I'll have
Wrong
that
sh-
much
it was a
authority
wrong-
over you. I'll come through the fucking screen and put the shirt on you and be like, bang!
It
Oh,
was
man.
the wrong shade of blue for starters. The collar's
Yeah.
awful. The badge was ironed on. I think the sleeves are white. Everything with about that kit was horrendous, and the season. I love a simplistic design. I like it when there's not a whole lot going on. I'd love just a beautiful royal blue shirt. Maybe not white sleeves, but maybe like the bottom bit white. I love just a really simple design. I don't want much, just a beautiful royal blue shirt, maybe a sort of pattern going on somewhere. Just keep it. I quite like minimalistic sort of. I don't like it when there's too much going on. I think sometimes it can look a bit forced and a bit messy. So
Yeah.
something
Are
really,
you,
just a really clean royal
Yeah.
blue shirt.
Are you going white shorts, blue socks, blue shorts, white socks, or all blue?
I always like the white shorts. I think it adds a bit of contrast. I don't mind the full blue, but I do like white shorts and then probably blue socks. I think that's the way I'd go.
What about you, Jamie?
I mean, I kind of struggle to comment on this as a colourblind human being. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of I mean, my favourite kit is like the black goalkeeper ones. Do you know what I mean? Like, Costa locking that back in the
So you want
like,
Blues to wear black next season?
No, like the goalkeeper kit. You know the goalkeeper kit, just black and it like looks
yeah, a black goalkeeper kit is clean. Yeah.
Like when Fozzie used to wear, I was like, that looks sick.
Yeah, that was a beautiful goalkeeper kit.
Simplistic, man. Just keep it.
Yeah.
Don't do too much, man. Like just with the Blues, just keep it blue, more blue and white, man.
Royal blue, yeah. None of this light blue rubbish.
I like a nice colour. Some white sleeves would go down alright, and then things like that.
I mean, in terms of kits over the last decade, I think my favourite would be the Jude Bellingham era one.
Really?
I really like the yellow as well. I think the yellow was really nice that season as sort of a third colour. The blue, white, and then with the sort of yellow at the bottom of the sleeve. And I think the yellow Boyle Sport, that's my favourite kit over the last decade for sure. Clean shirt.
The yellow symbolising piss week Blues. That's for sure.
Nah, we were alright that season. We were decent that season.
No, we fucking weren't. We finished 20th.
That's that season when we wore that kit. Wasn't that the year that Che Adams was firing?
No.
Am I thinking the season
before? That kit's nice.
That is a nice kit. Yeah, that's a nice
the one with
kit.
The white along the top and the.
Yeah.
I remember going to that Blues West Ham game thinking, God, we look like a Premier League team out on there. And well, look at us 4 years later, right? We're looking fucking shite as usual.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I'd go.
Rotherham stayed up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Don't know why. I was just thinking that Wes Harden being also all right back to being back.
He's out of contract.
We're
At the
just
end of
signing all the players that we've let go in the past. Isaac
Wes
Vassell's
Harden.
up free as well.
I always rated Wes Harden. I liked Wes Harden. I thought
I liked him as well. It's fucking Karanka who got rid of him. And Kifton Beldy got rid of. He nearly got rid of Duke as well. He was like getting rid of all the best fucking players we had.
He's a dickhead, and he persisted to play Mikal San Jose. Twat.
It was yeah.
Oh,
he was shit. He was a twat though.
he was shite.
Just quickly speaking on Mikel San Jose though, that was a mental signing when you think about it.
It was crazy, yeah.
Like as much as it didn't work, English football clearly wasn't for San Jose. That was a mental signing at the time. Like San Jose, he was in like the Spanish team and like an established La Liga player for I think Athletic Bilbao was it or someone like that signing was like in terms of over the last decade, in terms of like caliber of signing, and the size and popularity of a player. He was a giant. I remember at the time I was like, there is no way, and I think that was the general vibe around him. And then he turned out to be absolute bollocks, didn't he? But
yeah, it was just a shocking performance.
Oh, bless him. He gave it a good go.
I think I would go for a bit of a different kit for this season. So I've got to have a darker blue than the ones we've been having lately. They're just not blue, that's for sure. So I'd go for something. I'll put a picture up on the screen of it. For something like this, is the like a blue sort of a blue shirt, but like a bit of like a navy sort of trim in the center sort of chest region towards the neck, and then blue shorts, and then I'd go for some navy socks just to throw a bit of a curveball. So for something like that, because what I liked about the away kit this season, even though I didn't like the pattern, it looked a bit too suspicious. I did like the fact that we had navy socks. I thought that added some, pizzazz to it a little bit. It looked kind of interesting. And away at Swansea when we played with those navy socks, I thought, oh, that's an interesting looking kit. That is. I went home and thought, you know what, that looks really nice actually. I'll put a picture of that on the screen as well. Again,
what's your ideal away kit color then?
Yellow and blue.
Yeah, mine's yellow as well.
I would love to see a Blues version, in like a Fenerbahce style. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's yellow and blue stripes, blue shorts, and then I'd say blue socks as well because it would go well with the home kit.
Yeah, yellow away Blues kits are the best in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't
probably
like.
We've had quite good memories in them as well.
Yeah, we seem to do well in yellow kits for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but we always do really badly in red. For as long as I can remember.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of red. I think because it's a direct opposite of blue.
Yeah,
it's not. I'm not a fan of red away kits.
No, I like the yellow because there's some history with the yellow away shirts as well. With obviously the Adidas ones in the 80s and all that as well. For it kind of looks like us as well. I feel like that's something we should be aiming for this season. But knowing us, we'll just get another fucking template kit and.
Yeah, man.
It'd be like pale light blue this season, like fucking Coventry or something. You know, that's something actually. What's the worst kit that it could be this year?
The Karanka kit remade. Yeah, like that.
Revisiting it.
I can't tell you. Like I get so excited for the kit announcements, and I can't tell you how gutted I was when I saw that Karanka one. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I thought it was a wind up at first. I was like, it's not even the right blue. We're not Brighton and Hove Albion. Like it was awful. So yeah, the kit's actually quite a big thing personally for me. I always like it when we have a nice kit. I think it just sets us up nicely for the season if we're playing in a nice uniform. But yeah, we'll see.
Jamie, what's the worst Blues kit we could have this season?
There's been so many shit ones, haven't there? Let's be fair. Like I don't know. As long as the blue is actually blue and Birmingham City blue, it's all right. Like if it's like Zach just said, if it's that bullshit Brighton blue, like I ain't having any of that.
No.
Yeah.
Like and no white away kit either. Like no white away kit either. Nobody wants a white football kit because it gets within 3 wears of wearing it.
No mothers want that either. No, I'm doing their wash up on a Sunday afternoon.
It's somewhere I had when we're in the Prem the white away kit. And like it got fucked within 3 times me going to the Astro. Like, just decimated.
It's like grey at the end of it.
Yeah. It's like,
no one wants a white away kit. Yellow away kit Blues. That's what we want.
On the
Or
side note,
the managing director's just watching this podcast going, "Oh fuck,
Yeah.
what have we done?"
Oh, what?
We got a
No.
Brighton home kit and a
screwed
white
it.
away kit.
goalkeeper kit all the way, lads.
There you go. There you
When
go.
in
I'd love
doubt-
to get you a goalkeeper kit, Jamie. That'd be funny, actually.
When in doubt, keep a kit out, lads. Don't you?
The Boaz Myhill one in that 2012
Oh,
season, the red one. Oh,
fuck
that was
Myhill.
nice.
I
thought you were
one
going
of
to
the
say something
worst
about the shirt, just like Myhill.
downgrades.
Fuck him.
That is one of the worst downgrades I've ever seen in history. Ben
Foster
Foster
to
for
Myhill.
Boas Moyle. West Brom that day must have been laughing. So
when I was with Kidderminster, we played West Brom in a pre-season friendly, and Boas Myhill was their manager. So there's a little fun fact for you there. Should have had a word with him because he's not the best.
did he duck out the way when something came towards him? Still got flashbacks to Derby away for his first game. I was like,
Oh, great.
On a side note, BBC Sport have also decided to mug us off today. Leicester have equalled the record for most relegations in the English top flight 12, along with Birmingham City.
Yeah, we're whenever Blues are referenced, it's never for anything good. Never.
No, never.
No. The only time I ever hear us mentioned in a decent light is when it's like Jude Bellingham's playing and they're like, "I see he came through Birmingham's academy." That's all they'll say. Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
We might get the odd 2011 reference, but other than that,
How many seasons are we in the Premier League, in the Championship now?
about 12,
13.
I think, isn't it?
Is it 12 or 13?
We went down 2010, 2011 season, didn't we? Was it
So we're
11,
10
12?
years in 2021, 22, 23. Oh, fuck
13
hell.
years.
We're 13 seasons. Blues,
Longest
come
serving
on.
championship season.
Fucking do something, man. I'm sick and tired of the
I
Championship.
just want progression next year. I just want a top 10 push. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't want anything major. I just want to just be around the top 10. I want us to be
We'll do
over
a
50
Forest,
fucking
you know
points
what I mean?
by the
Like,
end of
just-
March, Feb. That'd be great.
Can't tell you how happy I'd be with 12. I'd be over the moon with 12.
Say that. That is so fucking
I
Blues of you
I
to
would
say
because
that.
it's just progression. As long as it's not 17th again, I'd be happy. This is what we've wanted for years. Just a bit of progression, season on season. 17th to 12th, then maybe 10th, then 8th, then maybe a playoff push. Who knows? But just wrap it up, Tommy, because we're the first episode in. I'm depressed already.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got a Koppenberg in the fridge and it's calling my name after this. I can feel it.
I can't tell you how relieved I will be to have a 14th place next season in the Championship.
Get it.
Lads, we're all gonna go to the studio and get shit faced if we're above 16th.
Just a little thing though. I think the Championship next season is the toughest Championship it's been in quite some time.
I know.
I think the fact that Plymouth and Ipswich have come up, Ipswich have talked about to be one of the best League One sides of all time in terms of how they did in their team. Plymouth had a very good season. They weren't far behind. Sheffield Wednesday, I imagine, will be the side to come up. Barnsley might do it, but I think Wednesday had a fantastic season. They finished on like 90 points and will likely be the team to come up. So in terms of the caliber of teams that have come down, Leicester won the Premier League not too long ago. Southampton are a decent team, and Leeds, obviously, we know what Leeds are like. So next season is, I think, in my opinion, the toughest Championship we've seen in some time.
I think
Yep.
Southampton were a decent team, and I think Southampton are about to feel the effects of what happened to us in 2011, which is their squad is about to get absolutely fucking decimated. Within
Maybe
4
so.
days of us going down, we lost about 5 players, didn't we, Tommy?
Well, yeah, exactly. But in certain present speaking, though, I reckon some of those players that are free agents at the moment probably would get snapped up by some of those teams that come down from the Premier League. So I imagine if you're interested in those players, some of the Blues management board really need to get a kick on with that and just be like, just join us, just do it, get the deal done immediately before teams like Southampton, Everton, not Everton, they survived, Leicester, Leeds, and then obviously the teams coming up and everything. It's just like, and the teams that didn't go up as well, like Borough, those teams are just gonna, like ransack those type of players really. So it's just like, you just get some deals done. That's why I'm worried at the moment. I'm just thinking we're gonna wait and we're gonna wait and we're gonna wait. It's just gonna come to the point where we're just gonna like can't buy anybody, can't do anything. But anyway,
Just
let's
sign
not get too
Timu
depressed.
Pukki.
I'm not gonna sign Timu Pukki.
Sign Timu. Sign my petition to sign Timu Pukki. Come on.
we're going to end this podcast here. It's been about an hour's recording. Hopefully you've enjoyed this sort of mini episode. Well, I say mini episode. It's like an in-between series episode. You've been listening to Jamie Lawler and Zach Woods. Thank you for joining me again, lads.
Anytime.
And you can also follow us on the social links on the screen. And we'll be back fairly shortly. Can't tell you exactly when, but we'll be back for some content over the summer break. Thanks for listening and keep right on.
Keep right on.
Sign Phuket.